everyone. It's another awesome week of sports. Our main focuses today will be college basketball weekend and how this week is going to look forward for the tournaments and also free agency. So we're going to start it off with free agency because that one's going to be the quicker one to get through.
Yeah.
And
You sure?
I also have some clips that we're gonna pull, and based upon where they fall will depend on. So while talking about free agency, we will talk about both of the clips that me and Mr. J agreed that as soon as I saw him, I passed him over to him. I said, "Oh, we talking about these today."
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and let's get started. Were there any surprises? Were there any surprises? Were there any good for them's? Were there any what were you thinking?
Not so far. Um, I just mentioned to you that the first one that popped in my head, look at Rosenthal's list on NFL.com was Malik Willis being number one as your number one free agent out there. But then, and even me saying it and thinking about it, they are a scheme based. Oh my God, let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at how this player is type of situation. And knowing that a lot of the Packers organization went down to Miami that was prominent for it, they knew who it was that they was getting. So I kind of take a step back at it, but at the same time, he hasn't started. I think they said something like he hasn't thrown an interception since 2022, but that's because he wasn't playing. And therefore, and to throw as much money as they threw at him. Ooh, breaking. Rashid Shaheed's going back to Seattle. 3 years,
Right.
51 million, 34.7 guaranteed. Nah, that's a good deal. They needed him, especially after.
Right.
That's the only surprise that I will say right off the bat. Watching, and it's not a good surprise. Watching watching the running back from Seattle go
Oh,
to Kansas
oh,
City.
Kenneth
Yeah,
Kenneth
Walker.
Walker.
Watching Walker go to Kansas City. And here's the reason why. Kenneth Walker was successful, but he wasn't the number one player because of who? Charbonnet. Charbonnet gets hurt. You get a chance to show you get a chance to show how you can run throughout that time frame. But everybody also fails to realize what was one of Seattle's biggest strong suits? That
The
offensive
offensive line
line. So now you're paying him buku money. And what was Kansas City's Achilles heel last season?
and the year before and the year before.
So, and I've been explaining to my young crew today because they were already getting frustrated about Bengals moves before they pulled their two moves at the back end of it. And I'm like, free agency gets hyped because everybody that we think that is a star that's available probably ends up moving to a different team. But what people fail to realize is that free agency is more now. If you're past your prime, this is your chance to go ring chasing.
Or if you just asking for too much.
Or if you asking for too much, this is your chance to go ring chasing. If your play has priced you outside of the budget for that team, then you're able to go somewhere else. Not
Yeah,
necessarily be a better team,
right.
but you necessarily be able to go somewhere else.
And plus people got to figure out you might be a great addition and not mesh, which which leads me to another conversation that we're gonna figure out how to slide it in. Matter of fact, while we're talking about everything else, I'm gonna start looking up the person that I want to talk about because it's been getting thrown around and me and you haven't really talked about it since a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, and I just want to revisit that conversation. So
It, it,
um
it pretty much everybody wants to sit up there and everybody wants their team to go after the top free agents that's available.
not paying
But
attention to the money.
not no it not even not paying attention to the money, not paying attention to the age, and not paying attention to the scheme fit.
Right.
That those are the three main things. I could sit up here and be mad as heck that the Bengals are letting go of Trey Hendrickson. But I wasn't. I was saying it last year. With Trey, he look at his age. You're gonna have other players that's hitting their prime that you should pay more than somebody that's on the back end of their prime that's gonna probably fall off a precipice and you paying them big bucks. And what ended up happening? The Bengals signed him to that 1 year deal and he barely played. Now he's sitting up there talking. His agent can sit up there and talk till he's blue in the face. But the fact of the matter is that you're in your 30s, and you had a season where you were injury marked. Who's going to take the risk on that? And especially at the risk of what some of these players that's in your lane is taking over there. Bengals turned
Now,
around. They turned around and flipped that to Mafe for less than half of what he was asking for.
right, which was about to be my point. My bad for trying to slip in there too quick.
No,
Um when does there come a point to where he's gonna have to see the writing on the wall? Because and me and you had this conversation, we got different information from different places. Um uh because according to what I knew of it,
mm-hmm.
um the guys that were on Fox at the time, uh one of them also being Nick Wright, um
Uh-huh.
when they talked about it, they said that there was one team and they were using it in a regard to basically trash trash the Bengals for asking for too much. And they said that the only reason he didn't go to Detroit was because Detroit wanted 4 draft picks. You said it was a different team. Um, but like I said, I was like, I don't know. I'm just going according to whose mouth I heard it come out of.
Right.
Um, which seeing that he's a reporter, he's been doing it for a while, I figured that he got sources close enough to where if he's willing to say it, then is 9 times out of 10 somebody leaked it from the team, um uh that being the Lions at the time. So, but when you have that situation where they say go out and test the market and don't nobody talk to you,
Thank you. Thank you.
don't nobody talk to you, ain't nobody picking up the phone to call the Bengals.
When you go when the worst thing that a team can tell you to do is go test the market and then come back to us.
Yeah.
And like I said in the comparison, I said you that chick that you think that everybody wants you, and then and you sit up there, you got somebody that's y'all in a relationship, y'all take it together, but you think the grass is greener somewhere else, and the dude sits there and says, "Fine, go out there and see if you can find somebody better."
And I got a feeling from a business standpoint, the Bengals already knew. That's why they said it.
I've
Because
been said that they
be, be,
knew it.
because
He would have been traded before the offseason last year.
right.
It
Um
would have been done.
uh but it's a whole it's a whole situation of him not looking at the full picture of everything. That's one of the reasons why, as I've gotten older, I've paid more attention and I've tried to pass this on to my kids. Full picture, bro.
Right.
Look at the full picture. Don't just look at their side. Their side, I mean the business side, the Bengals side, the owners, what they're willing to pay and what they're not willing to pay, and how you feel is unfair to you. Look at what you've actually done. Look at what you actually brought to the table. Because at the end of the day, that what you have in your mind of where you are don't mean nothing.
No. And
You
see,
need the people on the other side to agree with you.
that you worth what you think that you worth.
Right. That's how players get the money and how players don't.
They play themselves out of position. And the craziest thing about that was, especially after the trade this weekend for Max Crosby going over to the Ravens from the Raiders, and seeing that the Ravens gave up 2 first-round draft picks for him. Think about it from this standpoint. The AFC North could have had Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Max Crosby as rush ends for each one of their 4 teams. Out of those 4 people, you got Defensive Player of the Year and all-time sack leader, former Defensive Player of the Year, all-time sack leader, up-and-coming Defensive Player of the Year probably, and has been a league sack leader. And then Trey Hendrickson. Who's the oldest? Trey Hendrickson. So when Garrett got his money, we still feel like it was a bad deal, and he still might get moved. We don't know.
I I,
I
I felt it was a bad deal because of the way he portrayed his situation.
right,
I want up out of Cleveland. I can't win here. I want to win. I want up out of Cleveland. Next thing you know, they throw some money at him, and then all of a sudden is, oh, okay, I'm cool to stay here. But wait a minute, I thought you was wanting to win.
but you also know that part of that was that anybody that trades for him has to deal with his off the field antics that started to come out with the 9 speeding tickets. Yeah, go look it up. He's got 9 speeding tickets in Cleveland since he's gotten there for excessive driving. I'm surprised they haven't suspended his license yet.
Well, they don't. No judge wants to be that one.
It's
I
not going to matter because if you're in Ohio, it's on points.
right.
Every time it's 2 points. You at 9? You should be suspended by now. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. No. I got you, but like I said, they don't want to be that one.
Right. But you
And
had Garrett get his money last year. Before last season. You had TJ Watt get his money the season before that. Max Crosby got his money the season before that. All of them put up numbers this year. You can, and you trying to put yourself in that realm, and you didn't even see the field for more than half the season. How you gonna do that?
because because there have been times where you saw players get that bag, even though they didn't necessarily deserve it.
Right.
So everybody gets a trophy syndrome. So uh yeah, but
And now his market, when all the pundits came out and said possible places that he could go to, they started naming teams, and they said, well, he can go to Baltimore. Nope. Baltimore traded and got Max Crosby. Then they were like, okay, he can go to Dallas. Nope. Dallas and sat there. Dallas then traded for Rashawn Gary. Nope. You're not going there now.
what is going on in Philly though? Because Philly let go of Jake Phillips.
Uh Phillips was Where did Phillips
That
go?
was that was the one that got pulled over from Miami, and basically
Oh yeah,
the
they weren't going to pay him. They felt like they didn't get the return on investment like they did with that trade. It was a rent. it
it,
was a it was a short-term renting.
at the time that he showed up, he did improve the defense though. So
Yeah.
I get that he wasn't like what they had the year before, but he helped that defense come up somewhat from where they were at, because remember that whole situation with Jalen Carter, and then all of a sudden he was in and out of the lineup. So I get what you're saying, but and boom, ooh, 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 from the couch. Yes, from the couch. See, you're sitting up here talking about Philly and what we talked about now. Why did they just cut a player that was helping the defense? See, so you can trash the Bengals all you want.
Mm-hmm.
Every team, including Super Bowl teams, Super Bowl winning teams, and teams that get to the Super Bowl, they do it too.
Yeah, everybody does it.
The question is what do you do with what you turn around and you already have, and what you add to it? That is the question. Through the draft, through free agency, whether you do free agency more than you do the draft, whether you do the draft more than you do free agency. What
Oh.
is your standard of what is your standard based upon uh winning?
And the other part about that you have to think about is that what we equate value to is misguided. Yes, these players are free agents. They're going to get their money because they fit the needs for it. But you should hold more weight towards players that are getting traded for versus getting signed to free agency. Because a lot of these players is getting traded for. That means I can't wait until you hit free agency and hit a bidding war. I'm offering something for you right here, right now, in order for you to get it. Or I know this team is desperate to get rid of you. For it, I can lowball them in order to make a move, and it's gonna make my team better in a need that I don't even have to go overpay in free agency for if I pull this move right now. Trades are more strategic than waiting for free agency to hit to start signing people.
Yeah.
Because free agency should be looked at as what it is. Unless it is a bona fide superstar that hits free agency because the team around them can't afford them, which we really haven't seen lately. It's always been something with some question about if the player could keep up with what they did the year before because they came off of a low season and then they showed out or something else like that. It's not been like it's a bona fide superstar that somebody said, yeah, I'm about to let them go so they can test the free agent market. There hasn't been one of those in a while.
Uh-huh.
So we have to stop equating it to where when you start seeing trades for Max Crosby's, trades even for the Minka Fitzpatrick trade to the Jets, Aaron Glenn
Nope.
sat there and said, I'm about to get people that I know that I can trust to run my defensive scheme back there to run my defense. And that's what he's doing. He's trading for him. He either traded for him or he's trying to sign him. And everybody, there was one thing that Maurice Jones-Drew kept on saying today on NFL Network when I was watching him earlier. He said a lot of the coaches that are in there are signing their own players, which means if they coached you somewhere else and you was available and they know that you worked in their scheme, they are going after you to sign you.
Yeah.
They're not
That,
just sitting up there taking whims for it. Even
that
if
was
it's
another.
been years ago, they're
Yeah.
going back and signing you. That's why Saleh in Tennessee with the moves that he made, even with Daboll,
Yeah.
him and Daboll went out there. They was like, if you was a Giant or you played for the 49ers or for Tennessee or whatever else, and when I had them, come on, you coming back here with me. Or they're pulling them. So it's not It's this free agency for is always the hype machine when the draft, which is basically how can I get better on the cheap,
That's
and
part of it.
and then the players that are getting traded for are the two things that you really need to worry about more. Because free agency, everybody can all these players that get signed, we might have three or four of them that might hit. That's it. Then it'd be like, okay, well, it was the then it turns into was free agency this year. Excuse me. Was free agency this year a boom or a bust? You already can see
Wow.
right now. They were happy about Tua going to Atlanta because he'll be indoors.
And he's another left-handed. They were kind of joking that he was another left-handed quarterback.
So they weren't even joking about that on NFL Network. They said
It was
with
on ESPN, but go ahead.
on NFL Network, they said with Stefanski's offense, if he was already tailoring it for Penix, that means he doesn't have to change none of the schemes because he's got a left-handed quarterback coming in until Penix gets right and Tua. And he's that quick. They said they compared him. They said that he is he's the quarterback, the one that got drafted by Cleveland that God dang it, why am I drawing blanks on names? Not the one that played before Shador. They said,
Dylan?
yeah, Dylan Gabriel. They said they basically saying that he is great. Tua is a completely better version of Dylan Gabriel. So he fits what Stefanski wanted. Because you remember Gabriel was who Stefanski wanted. He didn't want Shador.
Right.
So that's why they said that might work. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out on the back end. When it comes to the Bengals two signings was needed signings. I think you're going to probably get the best out of Cook because Cook is back home for the third time, and he's going to love playing in front of his hometown family. And then getting Mafe was actually a steal because to get him for 3 years, 60, I think it was 3 years, 60 million. You can't beat that for an edge rusher that's 26, 27 years old and coming off a Super Bowl championship. So I want to see what else they do, but it's not a lot. It's really not been. It's been a lot of fluff and not a lot of substance with this whole time frame for it.
I give kudos to the teams that needed to bolster their defense, and they've been picking up a lot of defensive players. Um, I give kudos to the teams that had offensive line issues that have been trying to address it today, including the San
Mhm.
Francisco 49ers. Um,
The
I
Raiders
think
getting Lindenbaugh from
I,
Baltimore.
I think I need to see. The Steelers did address it at center, but I would like to see some more between the draft and free agency.
Who does
I
the Steelers getting sent? Who the Steelers get?
According to what I saw, they're supposed to be trying to sign, or maybe they kept Creed. There was
Uh
three offensive linemen that were put up on the screen on NFL Live earlier. One went to the Raiders. That was
that was
Lindenbaum.
that was Lindenbaugh.
And then they said the Chiefs got a guy named Creed something. And
The
then
Chiefs
they either
got
got him or they kept him. And then who was the third? Oh, Jesus. Um, Daggone it.
who was it that they were looking for? I'm scrolling through right now. Jermaine Illuminors re-signed with the Giants. Tunsil signed back with Washington.
Yeah.
Already signed back with Washington. Wiley re-signed with Washington. Bradbury was traded to the Bears after they center. Cade May signed with Detroit. Yeah, Cade May signed with Detroit. Pittsburgh has not signed anybody on the offensive line at all during this thing.
Yeah, that's another team that needs to.
I know they need it. They have not addressed it. They got Cole Holcomb that they re-signed. They signed Jamel Dean to a 3-year deal, and they re-signed Asante Samuel Jr. and then they traded for Michael Pittman.
Which that's a good move because now you can't.
What? Yeah, the Eagles ain't going back no time soon.
Creed Humphrey.
Creed Humphrey. I have not seen that name pop up on anything.
They were talking about him earlier, but from what I could see here, um, I can't tell if he if they re-signed him or if they picked him up from somebody. So let me see if I can look him up real quick. That might
I'm
answer me.
scrolling through Oye, Buffet, Rashid. And somebody that I will sit there and say that I feel sorry for, and I'm glad that he's speaking out about it. Brees Hall for the Jets. To watch that team sign all those people and they put a franchise tag on you and they won't pay you, that's a slap in the face.
It's a slap in the face, but knowing Aaron Glenn, I want to know why.
And that's where I'll be. So I'm gonna keep you basically to keep on slapping you in the face. That's what it sounds like.
Well, no, it. So
Oh wow, Bosa is out there. AJ Epinesa, Aaron freaking Rodgers, and to see the people that's got signed as well out of this list, that's like for real.
like who?
I mean, I'm scrolling through like I'm in their bottom. I'm in like their 70s right now for some of these people, and knowing that Jalen Naylor got signed, he went to the Raiders.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Naylor signed. Where'd it go?
Blankenship is gone from the Eagles?
That's what yeah, that's what I just said. That's why I said they're going downhill. Blankenship went to Houston. Three
Oh,
years, 24.75 mil.
like them, like they ain't got a good enough. Are you serious? Like they ain't got a
Exactly.
good
That's
enough
why I said
defense.
Houston is not going to be. Houston's going to be fun to watch this season because their defense is getting nastier.
Oh my God. Uh,
Because you got to think about Houston. They re-signed Daniil Hunter. They re-signed EJ Speed. They re-signed Sheldon Rankins. And they re-signed Naquan Jones. Now they about to add Blankenship.
the
It's
Ra
about it's about they're about to be ugly.
the Raiders are looking kind of tasty.
They're looking tasty, but they have to They have to execute it. This is
Yeah, I
this
know. I
this
know.
is
I know. I need to know who's going to be a quarterback, and I need them to make
well,
sure
you
that
know who's
they.
going to be at quarterback.
I need to know that that who that nailing does not get done like they did uh Jesus. He was with the
Kobe
Patriots,
Myers.
Jacoby Myers. Yeah.
I don't think so because
And they bet not.
Naylor's never been a number one.
I know he's never been a number one, and he was not bad for a guy that wasn't a number one. And that's the
No.
point. That is exactly my point. Now this is his moment to actually shine. Although I will say this, at the times when Jefferson was hurt or Addison was hurt, he did come he did step his game up.
Mm-hmm.
So and this is why I'm liking the fact that the Raiders went and got him. But the question is, number one, are you going who you gonna put on the other side? One, two, are you gonna make sure that that offensive line and the quarterback that you have make sure that them two have chemistry so that it works? because everything works on paper, but you that don't get you to a Super
Ooh,
Bowl.
I didn't even realize they had signed him.
Ooh,
The Raiders are looking spicy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they just got Quay Walker, and they got N'Kobe Dean.
Wait a minute.
Um,
Wait a minute. Hold on. If they got, did they put the Georgia linebackers back together? They put the Georgia linebackers back together. They ain't slick. They are not slick. You little shiesty little, you little, I just want to pinch your cheeks. They put the starting linebacker core for the national champions back together in Raiders black and white. This is a man. Quit playing.
Yeah, and so like I said, I'm definitely interested to see where this
I had
is
to get the silver
going.
and black back out.
You know, and the Cardinals, where did he come from? They just signed they re-signed LJ Collier. So hopefully
Okay,
that'll
yeah.
work. And the Giants re-signed Hodgins.
What's up with the Rams trying to reconstruct the Kansas City Chiefs secondary in their backfield?
That's where they was hurting. They was hurting at the
But
corner.
what? But I want to say what the year that McDuffie and all them back there, the year when they were the Achilles heel for Kansas City, when Kansas City couldn't. That was the Super Bowl year.
Yeah, but the problem was the offensive line got punched in the mouth. So of the 60 minutes of the game, they basically spent 45 of it on the field. I don't care who you are and how good you are. You're not you're not going to perform to the proper level if that's what you're doing.
True.
I don't care how good you are. What just like with the oh, that was awkward. Huh. My bad. I was watching a relay race and one of the girls kind of face planted and they was all running too close together and she made another girl fall over. Um, but anyway, but yeah. So let's see here. What are some ones that do you think Volson will be able to do anything for the Bengals?
Volson.
Yeah, Cordell Volson. He's a guard.
Oh, he's already been on the squad.
Oh, okay. He's a former Bengal. My bad. My bad. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. He was okay when he was there. He was a good fill-in. I think with them re-signing Reisner and then they're betting on Davis on a 1 year deal. It's trending better. They still, I don't think a lot of people was upset that Osai left. I wasn't. I mean, you have to. A lot of people have to understand. I'm not going to be upset that somebody that started out on a mediocre at best defense leaves.
I am interested to see how he's gonna do with he signed with the Giants, right?
No, so I signed with the Jets,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, with the Jets. I
but
am I'm interested to see how that works out because apparently they signed like if I saw right, they signed like three D linemen.
yeah. And but see, my thing is again in the record of the NFL over the past 10 years or so, how many defensive front seven folks have left the Bengals and start out where they went to after the fact?
True. Battle is one of the few.
But
Um,
about secondary. I mean, you think about
right.
Bates. Yeah, Bates is he's secondary. He's one of the few.
Yeah, Bates.
Other than that, nobody's left this defense that went on somewhere else didn't start out to be the man or even the captain of that defense. Shit, think about what happened last year with Logan Wilson. Everybody was up in arms that they traded Logan Wilson away when he was already getting benched for rookies playing in front of him. He goes out to Dallas, and what does Dallas do before the end of the league year? Sorry, not sorry. He basically DNF most of the second half of the year, and then they cut him.
Yeah. So, I am going to talk about a rule because I did hear something to the effect of it. I was kind of multitasking to the point to where I wasn't completely in on it, but I heard the word tampering.
There are a few
So,
things.
so
Who said something about tampering? Or is it the new
apparently,
rule?
the NFL makes a significant rule change before free agency, and I got this from the Spun, and it says NFL free agency is set to begin Monday, while the new league year doesn't officially start until Wednesday. Teams will be allowed to have a legal tampering period with players beginning at noon on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently the rule change was officially made on Sunday.
Because at the end of the day, it really wasn't. This is the thing, and people, we had this discussion last year. If I'm supposed to be available to talk to at 12:01 at 12 o'clock in 1 second on a certain day, and there's deals being signed with me and other teams by 12:01, you cannot sit there and tell me that I've been courted, exchanged information for contracts, check with my lawyer to make sure that the contract paperwork was right, and I signed it within 59 seconds. But we are so tuned to
uh-huh.
want to
This
believe,
this
we are
this
so
is
tuned to believe that that's how this works. Oh, well, free agency starts. Oh, well, shoot, they ain't talked about, wait a minute, he already signed. Them agents, once them agents knew that the possibility of
oh,
them not getting re-signed, or if there was a possibility of them getting re-signed and somebody offers them more money, you don't think that they getting that in their ear and they going right back to them like, well, such and such. There's a team out here that's saying that they'll pay us this.
wow.
What just happened?
So so according to the rest of the article, it says a subtle but significant change when the NFL free agents negotiating windows open on Monday for the first time. Clubs may conduct one video or phone call, maximum 1 hour, um, with up to five free agents, rather than communicating strictly through agents in the past years. Here's the part that made me say, whoa. The Steelers proposed this rule change and it was quietly approved last spring. each call can each call can last a maximum of an hour. Um, a, a positive for everyone involved, including the players who can actually get to talk to the coaches and others before making life-changing decisions. Wow. So the Steelers of all people
Shot themselves in the foot.
was the ones that got that ball rolling. That is hilarious.
We good enough to where we don't need no help. Y'all can go ahead and have our legal tampering. We got our team. We are Pittsburgh Steelers. We gonna do good no matter what. We the Steelers. 9-8 is great.
Well, I mean, I get where you're going with that, but I mean, it, I mean,
Are they saying that if they would have been able to talk 3 days beforehand to Aaron Rodgers, they wouldn't have waited to the end of the season in order to sign him in free
no,
agent?
they it's Aaron, just like they doing this crap again.
Yes,
I don't know. No, no, this should not be happening. Like, dude, make a decision. We got things to
it's
do. We got the
it's
draft
like this.
coming. We got free agency coming. We need to know what we doing.
It is
Tell,
this is the quintessential issue with this. Even with all the changes that has happened, there's only two possible locked in QBs in the AFC North right now: Burrow and Jackson. That's it.
yeah.
Cleveland already said Watson, Gabriel, Sanders is going to be a three-way battle to start, and then turn around, and then Pittsburgh, it's either Aaron Rodgers comes back and runs it back with his old coach, or they go into Will Howard. Which does anybody have any faith in Will Howard?
I mean, the obvious answer is no, but the problem with that is you know, get him out there. I say get him out there, and 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 that way you know whether it was a good pick or not. They should have been did this, and I get having Aaron, and like I told you, for the most part, unless they were playing a team with like a stifling defense, Pittsburgh wasn't bad last year. If Washington doesn't get hurt, I know, and I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But hear me out. If Aaron had been there for the OTAs, if Washington does not get hurt, I
Mm-hmm.
believe that if Aaron had been there for OTAs, he probably would have had a better chemistry with the two receivers that he wasn't on the same page with, in my opinion. And they wouldn't have had to pull in Scantling, who didn't have the same chemistry that Aaron was expecting him to have. Granted, the line and protecting and keeping people out of Aaron's face played a part in that, but still, I digress. They had two receivers that could get downfield and that could run routes. Problem was they wasn't on the same page with Aaron.
Yeah.
So, and this is why we're like, well, why do we need to show up to OTAs? Because everybody needs to be on the same page. That's why. That's what that whole thing is supposed to be for. It's supposed to give you an opportunity to be on the same page. Preseason is supposed to give you an opportunity to gear up for week one so that everybody's on the same page even more, and even more because you got teams that are actually allowed to hit you while y'all are trying to be on the same page.
Yeah. But it's just to where as more as we get down to it, and as the season comes along, now we got what, 6 weeks into the draft, 5 weeks
Yeah.
into the draft, and then it's really going. Once we get the draft settled, then it's going to be okay. Who's going to look good in what? Because all we're going to be doing is guesstimating off of who got drafted where, and how depth charts look, how the players is going to evolve out of there. But it's like, eh,
All right. So, with that, we are gonna jump over to the two things that we said we were gonna talk about before we get into the weekend of college basketball and what we foresee going forward. Let's see. We gonna go with the juiciest one. I'm still mad at Shannon for that whole TO thing, but I still hold respect for him because he do obviously he do know what he's talking about when he come to the game, and I love listening to him talk about his time in the game and him analyzing the game. I do enjoy it.
yeah,
So I sent this to you, um and I got it from the Bad News Browns page, but it was Nightcap,
right.
and they were talking about uh, how whether or not an offensive coordinator, based upon his experience, should be allowed to hold the quarterback to a level of a standard just because of the level of star that he is. And I loved the I love the take that Shannon brought to the table because a lot of players that used to play for the Patriots, they matter of fact, I can't remember who it was. I saw the reel of it last week. They talked about it. Bill did not pull punches. Bill, if Brady was having a bad day at the office, Martellus Bennett, that's who it was. I can't remember whose podcast he was on, but he talked about it. If 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 Brady had a bad day during practice, let alone during a game, yeah, Belichick called him out too. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this
That,
going.
You don't do it. You go piss it. Hold on. Hold on. You know that. Did Belichick call out Brady? You're going to piss Did Belichick call out Brady? You talk about they won 6 Super Bowls together, 5 Super Bowls. What are you talking about? He called out Tom Brady when we won 6 Super Bowls with, but you mean to tell me Lamar Jackson can't get called out? So you really compare Lamar Jackson to Tom Brady? That's what I'm asking you. Are we doing? That's what I'm asking you. No, listen. Let me finish. The new offensive coordinator, who I don't even effing know, calls out the franchise quarterback, and you're comparing that to what Tom Brady and Bill Belichick did. Are you serious? I'm asking you. Are you serious? A guy that won 6 Super Bowls got called out. But a guy that's been to the Super Bowl, he's above reproach. You don't do it. You go piss it off.
There's one huge thing that Chad is missing.
Chad, no, it's a few things that Chad's missing.
Yeah, but based upon his attempt at a comeback, which really just wasn't it. There was one huge thing on one specific thing that he said. Yes, they won 6 rings together. But when Tom got to the league, he was not that.
No. Nobody would have thought when he got to the league he would have turned it to that.
Not 6 rings. I wanted him to win 1.
Nobody thought when he stepped into the league that he would end up being the GOAT by when it was all said and done.
No, he was Mr. Irrelevant, for Christ's sake.
Exactly.
Lamar wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. Lamar has been getting this hype because of his ability to run the ball as a quarterback. So the point is, if Belichick can go to his Mr. Irrelevant, his quote unquote Mr. Irrelevant, because actually he was drafted in the 6th round, so he wasn't exactly drafted last, but
right.
but bottom line, he was low on the totem pole.
Right.
If you are drafted as a quarterback in the 6th round, nobody's foreseeing that you even gonna have be consistent, get your team consistently to the playoffs more than 1 year.
Nope.
If that.
Nope. You're normally first option to get cut.
Right. So the point was, if Brady, who was a 6th rounder and did not have the physical talents of a Lamar, can get held to a standard, why can't Lamar? And I've been screaming it from the couch moment, Woo! Woo! When it comes to players, period, I don't care if it's football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey. I don't care what the sport is. There should be a standard. And yes, whether you're black or not, whether your coach is black or not, you should be held to it. Those that allow themselves to be held to it get rings. Plain and simple. They get ranks. Those that don't, you want them pulled into the conversation because of their level of talent. But if you only going off a level of talent, there becomes a whole lot of players that don't nobody talk about that could technically be pulled into the conversation. And I can't wait till we have our moment where we talk about the one post that you sent me regarding what Jordan said last night. Oh, I can't wait till that conversation comes. It's gonna be great. But let's stay in the moment. Let's stay here for now.
When it comes to what Chad said,
Okay.
I got offended because you are the quintessential player that said Marvin Lewis and Bob Bratkowski got in your ass in order to make you the player that you was. But now you're saying that any offensive coordinator, basically, if you got MVPs and you are the CEO of the whole franchise, no offensive coordinator can come in there and get in your ass about how you're playing. If that's the case, then why didn't he basically sit up there and go handpick his offensive coordinator to come in there and come play? Because at the end of the day, they're going to tailor the scheme into what you do, but it's not going to be exactly what you did in the past. That whole team, that coaching squad that you had is gone. You have to set the precedent. You have to set the leadership tone. So to sit there and say that you're going to piss them off, who the fuck cares? Because the same sentiment that Ocho said in that statement is the same sentiment that every player probably should have with every new head coach that brought in new coordinators into their schemes. And we've been talking about it leading up to free agency and the draft. You got a new coach with a new offensive coordinator in there, and you are an incumbent quarterback. Should I be eager or should I be somewhat afraid? Because the worst thing that you can have is if it's a new GM, a new head coach, and a new coordinator come in there. That means out of those three, you're not the guy for none of them. You weren't the guy that was drafted for them. And we've watched Chicago. We've watched, we almost watched it with the Giants. Well, we kind of watched it the other side with the Giants. We watching it with Miami, and we watching it with Oakland right now. If I got a whole new head of the snake set up for it, your job, if you was not a part of that selection when we started, your job is not secure. And just because you got a couple MVPs and you led them to playoffs, at the end of the day, what was the article that what was the conversation that Garrett and what's what called had when they asked Garrett during that interview, would he give up his NFL Player of the Year for a ring? He said, without question, I'll give them all up to get a ring. He said, because the ring means that you were the best, and you can symbolize that across your peers.
Why did you stay in Cleveland?
Right, but he said, but with him saying that though, he basically saying that the individual accolades is cool, but I would give that all up for a ring. Yes, it's hypocritical for what he said with what his actions was, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much what Ocho is saying is that same mentality that Garrett is displaying in there, to where because he basically saying that a defensive coordinator couldn't go in there and tell Myles Garrett or get on Myles Garrett to be better because he's got defensive player of the years or he's got MVPs in his pocket for it. No. You're supposed to push me as my coordinator, as my coach, as my head coach, to be better than I was the day before, to maximize my output, to tell me when I'm not maximizing myself, to be critical of me. That is what you're paid to do. If you're paid to pat me on the back every time I mess up, saying, oh, there you go, guy, have fun. It's all right. You'll get up next time. You end up like one of these teams that just happy with being here. And participation trophies are given out too freaking much. And that's where Ocho is missing the point here. If Lamar can't take the criticism, Lamar's done. He'll never get to that Super Bowl. He'll never get to that championship, to that pinnacle, if he can't figure out ways to where his shortcomings are to become better at that, or to work at it to be better than what he was in there for it. And that starts with your new offensive coordinator telling you, you ain't going to run as much. I'm going to tell you when you run. You ain't going to be able to pull it out like that. If you run when I'm not When I tell you not to, you're going to have to do laps. Put that pressure on him. Make him learn how to read a defense. Make him learn how to adjust on the fly. If you put Joe Burrow's offensive awareness on Lamar Jackson and his athleticism, that would be insane. But just like in the other conversation that we had in that other one that you sent to me today, that's not what they're taught. They're taught to be athletic. They're taught to be able, and we've had this conversation before. They're taught to be able to be one read, two read, go, not shuffle to make the play develop. And you saw how uncomfortable it was for him when he played like that last season. They didn't look good.
Yeah. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and jump right on into that. Oh, crap.
And I know a lot of people gonna feel away. I know a lot of people gonna. I'm finna be honest with you. And I know a lot of people gonna feel away when I'm finna say what I'm about to say about a quarterback.
Hey, this shit called Perk Unplugged.
Give me a white boy before you give me a black boy throwing that ball. You wanna know why?
Why?
What I like about Josh Allen, he gonna die on that field. What I like about Matt Stafford, he gonna die on that field. What you seen in Baker Mayfield, he gonna die. He gonna make the correct play simply because he wanna win. Black quarterbacks right now want a check. And the difference is playing to win and playing to play, two different things. You trying to get your numbers versus winning. I feel like they gave Josh Allen too much flack for that game. He ain't perfect, but at the same time, when it's on the line,
he go down.
Man, the son bitch hyperextended his knee, missed his elbow up, broke something in his hand clearly. And his son bitch got out there and played the game. CJ got his bell rung and had to go see the woods. We need to put him on the yellow brick road.
Thanks.
And now we talking about a check right now.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about and I'm not being biased. This ain't being racist, and this ain't reverse racism. I'm telling you a fact that black quarterbacks. It's like you looking at Lamar right now.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about everything Lamar do outfield, and he the one get the scrutiny because every time he suit up, he comes suit up to play the game.
Yeah.
He just one or two plays away from being everything they want him to be. That's the difference.
Yeah.
When you look at Hurts, once they get that bag, it change. I call it the harden effect. Once you get the bag and you secure with getting them bags, you comfortable now. Them white boys, they want to win. They playing the game for legacy.
Yeah.
They ain't playing it for finance.
Right.
Why?
Trainers.
Because hard work beat talent when talent don't work that hard.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, they know they not faster. They know they not stronger. So they play the game with their mind. That's why a lot of them are sitting behind and on the sidelines conducting the orchestra.
Yeah.
And they being the conductor more so than being the employee or sitting on the field and running the plays because they playing it with their mind because they not stronger. And see, we done been going off brute goddamn strength and talent for so long, it ain't that many hard workers right now.
Yeah.
Stop talking sports.
You know what's extra genius?
I told you people was gonna be mad at me at my take, and this is one of the ones where it's just like this. Let's just get. First things first, there's no reason why any motherfucker should be on Perks podcast talking about football. Stick to what you know. That's just me being real. Stick to what you know. Two, the list of stereotypes that could be given from that whole line of conversation. Let's work backwards. The reason why we're not on the play, they're not calling the plays or everything else like that. I could swear that there was a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator named Eric Bieniemy for the Kansas City Chiefs. I could swear that there have been defenses that have been orchestrated by Marvin Lewis, by who else? You got who else was in there for it during that time frame? Singletary's been up there for championships.
Let's see here in terms of play calling.
Play caller.
That's Andy
Sala.
Reid, Robert Sala, uh, Kevin O'Connell. Uh,
We're talking about minority.
oh, okay, my bad.
Minorities. They're up there. So that's not the case. Let's call a spade a spade. It's real easy for simple motherfuckers to literally sit there and say the reason why they like Caucasian white American quarterbacks more than they like African American quarterbacks, when at the crux of the reason why that situation is the way it is because y'all didn't teach them to do it that way. It's real easy on the back end to sit up there and say what the problem is. When these players was getting developed, you didn't make them go against from trying to be athletic. You used their athleticism in order to get what you wanted out of them. You didn't train them to do this.
It's an F.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a parent, when you are a coach, when these players are coming to you in Pee Wee League and everything else like that, you have an option. You can sit there and you can have little Timmy that can throw a football about 15 to 20 yards right off the bat at 7 or 8 years old, and you have little Ray Ray that can sit there and can run a 4.3 40 at 8 years old. You're going to put Ray in there because most of the time you're not trying to train them to pass the ball. You're trying to train them to be able to get the ball on hike and then run past all the other little kids. And as they get comfortable with doing that, you're not making them switch to say, okay, this year, when you go up into the 10 and 11-year-olds, you have to learn how to throw the ball, how to look at the defense that's in front of it, and how to run the routes. You're not even teaching the kids how to run the routes. You're just telling them, run 5 steps, turn left. Run 5 steps, go out to the sideline. Run 5 steps, run at a diagonal towards this person. Or just run as fast as you can down the field. They'll throw the ball up there to you. You're not teaching them concepts. So to sit there and turn around and say, well, I would rather have they gonna die on that field versus somebody trying to collect a check. It's the stupidest thing I could ever hear. Because at the end of the day, every football player knows that they can go out there and get hit the wrong way and die on that field. But everybody else is out there, including the ones that you touting, was out there to get a check. And all the people that you were touting, let's call a spade a spade. They ain't made the Super Bowl either. So you cannot sit there and turn around and try to make it to where it's this type of divide when the basis of it comes down to the fact of it comes down to how they are developed. There are quarterbacks that are in this league that are non-athletic black quarterbacks that know how to read an offense and know how to go through the screens for it. But you know why they don't get picked? It's because most of the time they are an aberration. And once they get discovered, think about it. Donovan McNabb, by the time he ended his career, he wasn't running, but he could read the defense. Steve McNair, God rest his soul, he was a running quarterback, but he still knew how to read a defense. Shoot, Michael Vick, by the time he got finished with the league, he is now a coach in college because he learned how to read defenses. And the reason why, and all those people that I gave in this example came in as running QBs and turned around and learned that. Why? Because they had head coaches that sat their ass down and made them learn how to read a defense.
And throw the ball.
And throw the ball. And throw the ball.
In my personal opinion, may God rest his soul, in terms of scrambling quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl, to me, I know people will disagree, but in terms of being able to throw the ball and scramble at a high level, I still say that, to me, it was McNair and then McNabb.
Yeah. Yeah. But we don't talk
And
about that
and
because
that's no slight to Vic, but in terms of using your talent
hmm
to get it's easy to have talent. We can name a bunch of players, no matter what the sport. We can name a bunch of players that are gifted and physically gifted. We could say they are physically gifted. They should be in Super Bowls. But to do it or get near it consistently, because like you always hear me say, that's part of your job. You can tell me how physically gifted they are. You can give me all their personal statistics. That's great. That's not why they were drafted. They were drafted to get to a Super Bowl. I get where the guy was coming from. He just didn't completely word it right.
he didn't word it right at all. It was
And and the reason why I say he didn't completely word it right was because I know you don't agree with it, but technically he wasn't completely off the mark when he talked about the difference between when he said that part about dying on the field. And if anybody, because the name didn't come up, if anybody would be more of an example of that specifically, you let me know if you agree or disagree. But it would be Cam. And Cam is a talented dude, but everybody is going to go back to that one moment where if he had just jumped on the ball, they could have kept possession and
hmm
possibly still got a touchdown.
and see, I'm
And,
not.
that would be that moment where what he was talking about. Now, if that was Baker Mayfield, if that was Josh Allen, if that was Stafford, oh, that ball
Mhm.
would have got jumped on. That
But we've
ball would have
also
got jumped on.
but we've also seen those type of quarterbacks make career choices to where the ball that they have that opportunity on an interception to go dive or go make a tackle and for it, and they'll just stand there and just be like, oh shoot, he's coming. Or I ain't about to get hit.
Or I'm not about to hurt myself
So
to make
to
that hit.
stop this, even though I made the mistake and threw the ball where it was supposed to go, I'm not about to sit up there and throw myself in harm's way or go do it. It goes
Right.
both ways.
Right.
And
Yeah, yeah,
Cam,
yeah.
and I'm not going. I know that play with Cam, and you know how I feel when it comes to Cam. There are some that are bona fide divas that feel like it's beneath them to go get their knees dirty in order to go get on the football. But at the same time, there's players that are out there, even with, I hate to say it, but one of the ones that's recent, that if it wasn't for everything else and an injury, you would be the poster child for this would be Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was a pocket quarterback. During Houston, he was a pocket quarterback. He wasn't running around all the time. He hated to run. He didn't run around when he was in Clemson.
Right.
But he's not been prevalent right now. Everybody that's out there, all the African American quarterbacks that's out there right now, all came in as running quarterbacks. It's only a few of them that have had success. The Jalen Hurts, even with Malik Willis, with what he showed on the back end of the season. Caleb
Oh,
Williams, God,
oh,
oh Lord.
and for the record, speaking of Jalen shouldn't have been a part of his conversation. That was a part I disagreed with. Like, wait a minute, well, no, 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 you don't lump Jalen in with them. Part of Jalen's issue is who is his coordinator
Mm-hmm.
and who are the players around him and what is their mindset. Because, like me and you talked about, I felt like as soon as that stuff came out about Devontae and AJ Brown, everything just clicked different. It,
Yeah,
it, it
yeah,
was
we didn't even get
like
to.
and if I ever met him, I would have to ask him like, bro, can I be honest? Was there a bit of pettiness going on during this season? Because even if I get that the coordinator wasn't calling the right plays, you're a talented enough dude to where, and you had talent there to where it still shouldn't have looked the way it did. Was there a level of pettiness going on because y'all wasn't getting along?
And the other part of with that, the other part that ties into our initial subject with the free agency talk and everything else like that, you saw what the reports was today earlier when it came to AJ Brown. The market done dried up. Nobody wants him.
They don't want what's
They
going to
didn't
come with
want
it.
nope, they didn't want what comes with it. And that comes into that whole frame of what we talked about, where you can sit there, you can be the best daggone receiver out there in the world right now. But if it's cost me more to bring you in for my piece of mind, my piece of my team, just because of your talent, I'm gonna choose my piece over your talent at all times. And then what does it do? Now you have to go back into a situation, into a locker room where when you've been a pariah and a cancer because of your antics, and now you either got to do a mea culpa or you're gonna be sitting there sulking all this season, to where if it gets to a point to where the season is lost, they'll turn around and tell you, man, just go home. You good, just go home.
Like they did Keyshawn.
Right.
Now, and and part of that, and another reason why I said part of it was because me and you have talked about that, and that's exactly what I said. I said I would pick a Caucasian quarterback over a black quarterback because at the end of the day, your main job is to be able to throw the ball.
Right.
The running is supposed to be a perk. It's supposed to be a perk when you can't throw the ball.
You know what? I'm gonna put one out there to you, and you're gonna laugh when you're not gonna laugh, but it's gonna make you think about it when I say this. Before I would take a black quarterback from a Power Four school, I would look at the HBCUs in Division II and Division III before I would even get to that point. And I'm gonna tell you why. Most of those quarterbacks that are down there aren't the athletic ones. They're not the ones that they might have a little bit of speed, but most of those players that's down there, if you look at their stats and they're putting up 3, 4, 5,000 yards passing with a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio and pro schemes,
That's right.
I would rather bring them in for a look than sit there and go to one of these Power Four schools that might have one in there that has not shown anything close to those statistics. Because most of the time when you get them, if you was to put them in an NFL offense and have them try to learn it, they wouldn't know how to run it.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, because even with McNabb came from Syracuse.
Right.
McNair was Alcorn State.
Yeah.
Doug Williams was Grambling.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going through. All the ones Virginia Tech, they schemed that offensive work towards Vic, but Vic was more of a threat in the pocket and passing that last season when Beamer made that offense more pro style than he was the year before.
Okay.
We're top heavy. We see the quarterbacks, Cam Ward in Miami. Cam Ward in Miami is the Cam Ward that you got in Tennessee, not because of what he did at Miami, but it was because of what he did in Incarnate Heart. And I forgot what other school he went to before then. The schools that he went to before then made him into that quarterback to where he flourished in Miami.
Washington State, wasn't it?
Hmm?
Washington State, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it was Washington State. Ward went to Washington State before then. But all those the quarterbacks that are in there now, because I'm trying to think. Let's think about it. If you run through the league right now, there's none in the AFC except for what's called Lamar went to Louisville, but I thought Lamar transferred to Louisville from somewhere else.
Yeah, Cam Ward did 2 years at Washington State, and then he went to Miami.
Okay, but he started in Incarnate Word.
Yeah, he did because I remember when they were talking about it, and
Yeah.
that school sounds familiar. Um,
Yeah, he went to Incarnate Word for 20 to 21. Then he went to Washington State for 22 and 23, and then finished up in 24 in Miami. Because he was the FCS Freshman of the Year and was a Walter Payton Award finalist.
yeah,
Lamar Jackson. He went to Louisville his entire time. Okay. That was different.
I was gonna say I don't remember him going anywhere else college wise. I thought he was always
Malik
in.
Willis was at Liberty. Tua was at Alabama. Who else is out there that would be considered?
Tua was in Alabama, but he got an opportunity because Jalen.
Jalen transferred to Oklahoma. He came in on that back end of that national championship game, led Hurts wasn't playing well. They was losing. They put Tua in. They ended up winning that national championship game the year that Devontae Smith won the Heisman. They won that championship, and then he took over the starting job. And Jalen and I think Jalen backed him up the next year and then transferred to Oklahoma for his senior year. Because I know Jalen went to two different ones. I'm scanning through all the quarterbacks in the league right now. Caleb Williams has been a multi school, but he went Oklahoma to USC because he followed his coach. White. Yeah, everybody that most of and when you scan through it, Jaden Daniels. That's who I was looking for. He was at Arizona State, then went to LSU.
Yeah.
So it's that most of them have been in two college schemes, or they've been in an FCS school or NAIA school and came up. I would look down there because you're not going. Yeah, they're going to sit up there and say, well, they haven't played against caliber, that top caliber type of players that's running around there on the field. But if they can if they know how to read a defense and they know how to scan a field, is it going to matter? They just got the only thing they got to get used to is doing it a little bit faster. And you're basically already setting them up to where they already in a process to where they can do what they need to. Did I freeze?
No, you good.
My video's showing that I'm freezed. I'm frozen.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I was trying to say I heard everything you said.
Okay. Catch up now. There we go. All right, I'm back. But yeah, it's not. That's why most of the time when I start hearing them talk about certain quarterbacks that's coming out, I'm looking at their stats, but I'm looking at their history when they come out of here. That's why I said, okay, when the debate was coming between Cam Ward and Shador, I was like, Cam. Automatically, Cam. Cam shown that he knows how to read the offense. He knows how to read the defense. Shador has had one read, two read run. They can sit there and say that they tried to get him to be able to be that pocket quarterback, but it never succeeded with it.
You never gave him a line where he could do more than what
right. But even with that being said, even when he was at Jackson State, let's be real, he got a lot of the tout for it because he could throw it to a Joe Horn Jr. or a Travis Hunter, and they can do whatever they needed to after the play was done. So it was never that equal footing. And when they first started yelling like, yeah, he could possibly be up there or he should be considered one of the top players, I'm like, no. And I wasn't wrong. That's why he's going into his second year in another QB battle with the person that he went into a QB battle with last year, and a person that ain't played football in 3 years meaningfully. And he still might lose.
Yeah. But With that, obviously, that was a nice spicy one.
Mm.
So let's go real quick to the one that you sent me on Instagram so that we have context. Anybody who did not watch basketball on Peacock, you did not get to watch the MJ experience. Um and you did not get to hear what he had to say about the whole GOAT debate. I've heard it a bunch of times. But just for the sake of conversation, where did you go? Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and play what Jordan said, a snippet of what Jordan said on the MJ experience last night on Peacock.
I want to ask you about the international growth of the game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 2028 in the LA Olympics.
Yeah.
And the U.S. at home may have a tough time in basketball winning the gold medal based on the way the rest of the world, you're rolling your eyes at me.
Yeah, only because I think basketball is so strong in the United States. I think there's no way we should lose.
All right, but it's not back to 84.
No.
Not back to your teams, right? And that dominance.
It has evolved.
Okay. And watching those guys play for their national teams,
It's all huge.
it's great, right?
all huge.
That's basketball you probably love watching,
Yeah,
right?
that's very genuine. That is no money involved. It's pure passion
Right.
and dedication to the country as well as to the game.
Right. What has that Olympic experience done for you?
To me, it changed my name from Mike Jordan to Michael Jordan. You know, representing your country, feeling that energy of the United States in '84, and staying in the village, and understanding and spending time with all the other athletes and seeing their passion and their effort.
You were in the village. That had to be so cool.
Absolutely.
The way it's evolved, it's obviously changed in times.
'92, we rented a whole hotel. We was away
Right.
from everybody, had police escort back and forth to the events. I mean, it's a total different experience. I mean, if you had to ask me which one I enjoyed the most of '84 by far.
One thing that's never changed with sports fans is the debate about the GOAT. Who's the greatest of all time? So it's rare that I get a chance to sit down with one of the guys who's debated about to talk about the conversation of that term, the GOAT.
The whole GOAT term is never going to be something that I ever will get high or low about. You know, it just doesn't exist with me. I never played against Oscar Robertson or Jerry West. Would have loved to. Absolutely love to. Just as competitive as I am. You know, and I actually learned from them, you know, and we, you know, paved the road to the Kobe's and the LeBrons, right? You know, and to me, it's the beauty of the game of basketball that a player, after a previous player, has evolved the game further.
Mm-hmm.
But don't then, in essence, this is where I look at it, you know, don't then now use that against the player that actually taught you the game or that you learned from. And that's why I have a tough time. And, you know, look, I would love to have played against LeBron and, you know, Kobe in my prime. You know, I would love to have played, you know, against those guys. But we'll never be able to know that. Part of the marketing, part of the hype, part of the things that tries to elevate one generation above the other, I think it creates animosity. I have no animosity against today's players. But you do have certain players that do have animosity because of the forgottenness of what their contribution has been to the game of basketball. It is what it is. It is a empty comparison. It's an absolutely never find the true answer to that question.
It's a circular conversation.
It's just going to keep.
You're never going to get
and I understand.
but it's great to talk about.
100% to talk about and envision. Look, I think LeBron has had an unbelievable career, and I admire him for what he's done. You know, and Kobe as well as KD and all these guys who have played in this era. I think they've elevated the game of basketball tremendously. I just don't agree when you start, you know, trying to put one above the other. It doesn't work. We'll never know. It creates more of a problem from, you know, not for me. I've never given it credence. But, you know, for other players who look for their existence within the generation of basketball, and we should always honor that. We should always preserve that. We should always, you know, reward that they paved the road for a lot of generations after that. And by doing that, you somewhat, I mean, Jabbar, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, I mean, Bill Russell had 11 championships. I mean, how do you just push him in the corner and say, we ain't gonna think about you. You know, we forgot about you. You know, that to me is where I get lost.
I'll let you take the floor first on this one, because this one has what he said in that short snippet is what I have tried to preach across the board for almost 2 decades now. As a person that is a Kobe fan, a Jordan fan, obviously, a Magic, Bird, Worthy, screw it, as a basketball fan, the entire GOAT debate is for stuff like this. That's it. When you have it, that's why when I take my swipes at the God, when I take my swipes at him, it's because he's one of the first ones to openly sit there and consider himself that title, and tries to give all the act and tries to basically give his reasonings as to why he should have that title. But our arguments that we always get poo-pooed and we get laughed at by younger generations with that is, if we was to take you and ball you up and put you in the DeLorean and send you back to 1960s, 1970s basketball, would you be able to get those same type of stats with how the game was played then? Now, as a historian, you can look at the footage from the games from the 60s into the early 70s. They play similarly to how they play now, but they weren't as big. So you might have dominated. Once the 70s hit and the grit and the grind and that ABA merger came into play, where they was already playing a little bit more gritty and grimy during there, up and through the 90s, I don't know. Some of you might have came across that middle and had a dunk last night. But if it would have been 20 years ago, your teeth would have been in row 7, your ankle would have been behind the stanchion, and your knees might have been somewhere in the locker room. Because nobody let you come across that court. Nobody let you drive down that hole that way freely like you are. I saw a whole bunch of clips this weekend from people playing in the gyms doing stuff that would have got you into a fight if it was in the gym back in the day. Sit up there throwing the ball off the backboard, catching it and dunking it on people.
Yeah.
That would more than likely you wasn't gonna hit the ground on your feet.
Right.
Especially if you was trying to show out. And the number one equalizer for all of it, especially if there was ladies there. Hell no, you ain't about to embarrass me.
Yeah.
But the GOAT conversation is a moot point. Why? The only way that you're able to play any type of game to where you can try to analyze what they're doing now to other GOATs in the past. The only time that we've really been able to see GOAT versus GOAT was the 60s and 70s when it was Chamberlain versus Russell. Then when Dr. J came in there and started beating Russell and started beating Chamberlain on the back end of there. Dr. J had the crown. Then but he was going up against Moses Malone and Elgin Baylor and everybody during that time frame. Then you had Larry and Magic come in from college battling.
And it was so fierce that they literally made a video game specifically
Regularly for them too.
dedicated to them.
Yeah. And then they threw Jordan in there. But it was so fierce to where you had Indiana State, which is pretty much the equivalent of this year's Miami of Ohio, going for national championships against Michigan State because of one dude, the hick from French Lick. But he was balling, and then he went into the league, and he's still to this day. Everybody want to talk about GOATs. Nobody's won 3 straight MVPs. Nope. But Bird don't get mentioned. Nobody's won. MVP, Executive of the Year, and Coach of the Year in the league. Larry Bird has. So nobody mentions him in that context. But you had that whole era where you had Magic, you had Bird, you had Worthy, you had Barkley. Then you brought in Wilkins, you brought in Isaiah Thomas, you brought in Karl Malone, you brought in Jordan. List go on and on. Reggie Miller came in there during that time frame. That list goes on and on. Your GOAT is whoever you want it to be, and whoever you can know the statistical background to compare them against somebody else. Are you wrong with who you picked to be the GOAT? No. Are you right with who you picked to be the GOAT? No. Because at the end of the day, we will never know. There's only 2 ways that you can figure this out. Playing it on 2K?
No.
Which pretty much ain't gonna be the same. Or what it used to be a website for it used to be a website that I used to do where it was like a simulator where you could put, like, you would pick the team, pick the stats and everything for it, and it will run the sims. It's what I used to use in order to pick my daggone NCAA teams before they shut it down. It was called What If Sports. And they had all the stats logged into it. And you laughing, but the guy that ran it was from here. Yeah. And he used to be on 1360 and 1530 with Lance McAllister. And he would sit there, he would run the sims, and he would sit there and tell you, if I ran the sim 1,000 times, what would be like the average point spread and everything else. And it would always almost hit. And I'm salty because I think they got bought out, and then they went out of business. But before then, like, it was the computer program would simulate 1,000 games between, and it wasn't even just basketball. It would do it for football, baseball. It had almost all the statistics for every sport for like the past 50-some-odd years. And it was neat as hell in order to run it. But when they ran it, they went out of business, and it was like, shit. Nope, it's still around. You gotta pay for it now, though.
So my thing is part of what he said is at the end of the day the truth. It's not it's a one of. You probably not gonna like this reference, but I would take this situation and say, instead of making the Mount Rushmore, you make and I'm gonna change the name of it. You make an NBA mountain. And you could put whoever you feel, you could put them up there. And it's a mountain. So it could be, you could put as many people as you want up there. And now it will get dicey because there are going to be some people that was a fan of people because, oh, well, I knew this guy. Well, okay, that's fine. But he needs to fit. Or you put him on the mountain, people that don't know him is probably going to put him at the low part of the mountain. But if we're talking about people like Sean Kemp, if we're talking about people like Gary Payton, Rod Strickland, Clyde uh Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the
Jerome
starting
Kersey.
five, basically the starting five for Portland. And then we start naming people that played with Magic on the team, their level of and then the starting five for the Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge. Um,
And Bill Walton.
right. And it's like you can start having a conversation where you can stick people on there. If you make it a mountain, there is no doubt. Kobe is on there. Duncan is on there. If you want to, go ahead and stick Parker and Ginobili on there if you want.
Mm-hmm.
You start naming off who got a bunch of rings. Guess what? You can stick Phil Jackson and you can stick Phil Jackson up there. You can stick Steve Kerr up there. Okay, because it's a mountain and the
Right.
mountain's huge. So and it would make it where you can literally go through and the guys that dominated the game. So Allen Iverson gonna be up there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, maybe not for nobody else, but like I told you, he's one of my dudes. I don't care if you put him at the bottom of the mountain. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Dumars can go on there for my version of the mountain. Mark Jackson could go up there for my version of the mountain. Muggsy Bogues, Spud Webb,
Yeah.
Grandmama, even though he stayed injured way too much.
Yeah, he was never the same after he left UNLV.
Yeah. He stayed injured too much. He was a monster. Two more people that stayed injured too much. Alonzo Mourning and Grant Hill.
True. Well, Zoe, we ended up finding out that, you know what I'm saying, that was more of a health issue than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said two people that had injury issues. And then I said Zoe and Grant Hill because they were great players.
But it's just like it comes down to where it's like you can't even when those debates come into play, like even now, in 10 years from now, at the trajectory that they are, if Wemby keeps on playing the way that he is, are you gonna start saying that Wemby was greater than Wilt, was greater than Russell, was greater than even Tim Duncan, who
I
gets over?
won't. I personally won't. Just like I won't say that Shaq as dominant as he was. There was somebody that was better than him, and he proved it when they went head to head, and that was the dream.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like you can't sit there and think that it's not going to be that they're as dominant as who they was going up against. It's always going to be evolving.
Yeah, but like I said, if you make it a mountain, stick anybody up there you want to.
Yep.
Just do me a favor and make sure that the stats is in the ballpark. Which is what would get me in trouble because as soon as I would stick like my personal favorite Joe Dumars up there, somebody gonna go back and look at stats like, oh, he don't belong up there. Okay, where he was lacking in points as an all around player, that's why I stick him up there. And he was quiet and he was good at what he do. And then let's not forget to mention the part that really pissed Jordan off and just started the first three championship run when they put him on the front of Sports Illustrated and said he was the only dude that could shut down Jordan because that particular year while he was scoring like over 30 on everybody else, Joe was at least able to keep him in check to 30 points every time they played the Pistons. that was one thing that I remember he was in an interview. That was one of the many things that he said pissed him off about the Pistons. And that started everything.
Yeah.
So it so uh so yeah. And and that's what we need to get to. We need to do a NFL mountain, an NBA mountain, a baseball mountain.
Yeah,
Now,
because
obviously the greater of the people are going to go closer to the top.
to the
Okay.
top. Yeah.
But there's going to be a whole bunch of names on there. And just to keep it a buck, yes, it will include people that did not win a championship. So you can stick them up there. Go ahead, stick them up there. Let's have fun with this thing. Stick them up there
Yeah.
and just embrace some great basketball that you got to watch during your time.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Our society right now, we don't enjoy a lot. Everything that we do is always tended towards what's the best or what's the greatest or who's the greatest or who's the best. It's always a comparison thing instead of just enjoying the moments that we are and what we get to enjoy from. And everything turns into a debate. Who's the best quarterback? Who's the best wide receiver? Who's the best defensive player? And who's the best slugger in baseball? Who's the best pitcher? Who's the best teams? Even going as far as who's the best striker? Who's the best goalie in soccer or in hockey? Who's the best forward? Why can't we just enjoy the fact of saying, hey, they really good? Because most of the time, the people that we yell out is the best don't win it all. The best teams win it all.
Yeah.
If it was only about who was the best player and who was the GOAT, then Jordan would have had what? 12 rings, including the two during when Hakeem won when he was playing baseball, just because the fact he was still the best player, he was doing something else. LeBron would have never lost none of the umpteen championship matches that he had besides the 4 that he won.
Mm-hmm.
The best never wins. But we are always so quick to sit up there and talk about, well, they're the best person, or they the GOAT. They're going to be the greatest of all time. Folks, and I'm just going to say this just for the simple fact of how I feel with it. And this will be my last time even remotely having this conversation about GOAT talk when it comes to NBA players. The reason why Jordan is considered the GOAT is not just because his 6-0 finals championships, not just because he was the finals MVP all those times, not because he was the scoring champion and defensive player all the time, but defensive player of the year or first team all defense numerous times in there. It's the fact of not only did he do all that, but he made basketball helped make basketball into the global sensation that it is right now, to where you have the Wembys, the Jokic's, the Giannis's that's playing in there via the Olympics along with that dream team to build that notoriety up.
And he still got people buying all his shoes.
Exactly.
He still got people buying all
and
his
if you
shoes.
want, here's the thing that I want everybody to realize. This man has made almost 150 times his salary for his entire career in the NBA off of his shoes. You cannot sit there. You want to know who's number 2? God bless his soul, Kobe. Your God is number 3, and that's barely. His shoes have never caught on the way that the Jordans have been. Once he retires, they're not going to retro the LeBrons like that.
Unless he personally does it.
And he's made more before his retirement off of Nike than Jordan did up until his retirement. Jordan made all his money afterwards. So think about it in that grand spectrum. The cultural aspect, not only in basketball, but among the world as a whole. The brand equity and the skill sets and the awards in the league. That's why we consider him the GOAT. Well, he's considered my GOAT with Kobe a close second. But that's what it boils down to. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of all these other things that's in there. And who's to say that if the dynamics of what was around when Jordan was here would have been around when Dr. J, when Magic, when Larry, when even going as far back as when Wilt and Bill Russell was there, they wouldn't be as much in the higher accolades as that. The craziest thing in the world that we see that still to this day is that picture of Bill Russell like this with all his rings on his hand. It's still a cultural, it's an iconic picture. Everybody wants to go back and redo that image with rings in there. Even Jordan did. That's what makes you the GOAT. When people want to mimic you decades after you did something, sitting up there laughing about them people mimicking Kobe inside the locker room with the championship with the leather jacket on, and everybody still mimic that one.
I realized something today. So even during the time that Jordan wasn't like my favorite player, it was Magic and Dumars. Um, when I was out on the court and I was practicing, I did like his ability when he like really worked on his jump shot and got to the point to where he could just he do that stop and pop, but he would pause in the air.
Yeah.
I had figured out a way, and part of it was just being out on the court all day, every day, practicing it. But I pretty much figured out a way to mimic it. And and I remember I pissed off a bunch of people that I played. It's like because they'd be thinking I'm going to the rim, and then all of a sudden I would just elevate, and then they would try to jump up, but then they couldn't stay with me. It's like oh, it got it right there. It's just and that's like one of my few like funny moments that I like literally just thought of from my childhood, which there weren't many, but um
I used to one of the things that used to get on people's nerves, even when I was younger, was my hands was always bigger. So even when you're playing with the junior basketballs, and therefore I could palm a junior basketball. So when he would do his little hand fake, when he would act like he was shooting and he would just pull it back, I
yeah.
could sit there and do that. And they would get mad because they were like, "You traveled." No, I didn't. I caught the ball, I had it in my hand, I got the hand behind my back. You try to swipe at it, I got my shoulder out here like this, like he do for it. Then I put it over your head and act like I'm gonna pass it. And see, I used to watch all of them, so I would do that. And then as soon as somebody would run from the corner to go after the ball, they would leave one of my cousins or something over in the corner, and my one cousin could shoot threes. I would just grab the ball, have it right here, and then flick it out to the corner. He'll have an open pass for a shot. They ain't no fair. Well, I didn't. I mean, these balls are small.
Yeah.
But I used to be able to do that. I used to love sitting up there driving. If I couldn't, I had vert, but I was you still 10, 11, 12 years old. You're basically hitting basically just now tapping the underside of the backboard. So you still had to kind of chuck it up there when you got it up against the backboard for a layup. But I can sit there and do that. That's what we mimic. We used to where the YouTube and everything is for all the players now, where you can type them in and see all their highlights. We used to have to go to stores and find the videos and watch the videos, and if we could, dub the videos in order to have it. Shoot, I still have Playground and Come Fly With Me and everything else. That's the things that make me still be reminiscent of that. And that's been almost 30-some odd years. And that's what it all boils down to. Your GOAT talk will be if there is not somebody within the next 10 years or so that makes you not talk about LeBron as much until somebody's coming close to his records. That is the telltale sign of the growth in the GOAT talk when it comes to that. If we getting down to the nitty gritty and it's almost at the end of a career and we're starting to praise accolades and stuff about it, yeah, it's cool. But when you've been out the game for 20 plus years and your voice is still ringing off to where it's a part of the conversation, kind of hard to deny the status that you have with it. And those are the superstars that you have to put up there on that mountain. There might be one Billy, but it's that Billy might be to anybody's definition of whatever they want to put it as.
Oh, for sure. All right. Now, let's see. Gonna shorten this up one article so that we could talk about basketball and put this on the road. So I'm gonna pick the most important one. A lot of fights going on this weekend. I would just premise it. Apparently there was a fight that broke out after a tournament game, basketball game,
Oh
Jackson
yeah,
State
Jackson
and
State
UTEP,
and Jacksonville
and
State.
UTEP. But the one that I chose to pick, just to show my unbiasedness, I am a fan. Anybody that knows me is I have multiple college teams that I am a fan of, and we're going to talk about the head coach, uh, Danny Hurley. A lot of people not happy with the punishment he got. They feel like, according to what he did that day, um, he should have been suspended, and the fine should have been bigger. So
They're not gonna find or
not
disrespect their cash cow.
not going into the big, especially not going into the Big East
Nah,
tournament and March Madness. No.
nah.
And now I will say this. The the fans being mad, they got plenty of reason to be mad, especially when you look at the whole situation of how they made the decision. They made the decision without talking to the referee, according to part of the article.
Yeah.
A fan wrote they decided quickly, um, probably before talking to John Gaffney, so they don't have to suspend Hurley for one or more games. Now, I saw the replay. Part of this article claims, also, which is what got them some backlash, they claim that they could not confirm physical contact. Now, I don't mind if you gonna do what you want, but don't play me like I'm an idiot if
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Whether I'm a fan of the school, like I am with um with Connecticut, or if I'm a fan of the other team, or if I'm not fan of either one of the teams, I'm just a fan of college basketball. Come on, bro. They showed the replay all weekend. There is his I Now they showed like a distant, but even the distant shot that they showed on camera looked like he put his nose right up against the side of his face, which means that in order to do that, his body was definitely touching.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I cannot dispute that one.
So, I mean, to say that you cannot confirm physical contact between Hurley and the official, what? Like, you saw what you wanted to see.
See.
You saw what you wanted to see, and that's like I said, I'm a fan of UConn. I like Danny Hurley. I do believe he can be on the level of I like controlled chaos. He is uncontrolled chaos. And so even if it's in my coach, I will call it out. He tends to be uncontrolled chaos. And
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, if they had suspended him for a game or two, that's purely on him. In my personal opinion, they should have done it. Now, if you got him dead to rights and you got the evidence and ain't hearsay, you got him dead to rights. Oh, you got it on camera. You got him dead to rights.
true.
Suspend him for a game or two. It's okay. Make him think before he gets in that rest face. Didn't say not allowed to get mad at the dude.
No, they did not.
You could get mad at the dude. Please be careful on how much you say in your anger.
Yeah,
Try to keep it to like a minute clip so that you don't get a technical. I don't like it when I don't care if it's a player, I don't care if it's a coach. I don't like it when they get technicals. You're giving the other team opportunity at more points with the clock
yeah,
number.
that is true. Without the clock running, and they know this.
And I'm saying that knowing in the moment, you can't always control yourself. I get it.
But as
To
your
some
head coach,
extent, you got to try.
as a head coach, you have to try.
It,
You,
it,
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like when it comes down to it, you have to do that to where you have to. I understand in the heat of the battle, some things might happen. I get that, but you have to have some type of decorum for what you're doing. And a lot of them get caught up in that moment to where they lose that decorum and they lose that feeling of, oh well, I gotta do this in order to make this right for my team and everything. No, just do it. Do it properly. That's all we asking for you to do. If you feel like you're getting cheated by something, okay, we'll don't do nothing where it's a detriment to your team.
right.
And a lot of them get into that mood to where they just feel like, oh no, I gotta react to it. I gotta do this. And they don't realize how much they hurt their team. Because realistically, it really hurt their squad because now they have to win the Big East tournament to even be considered for a one.
Right.
And who knows what that might mean because you were the lowest one seed. So if they switching it around to give one seeds closer dynamics or closest to home, now what could have been something to where you might have had, depending on some losses, you might have had a choice at where you was going to go or been closer to the East Coast where you want to go. You're probably going to end up out west. And it's not that's what hurts. That's what a lot of coaches have got to get out of the habit of, oh, they did my team wrong. I need to put this out there for it and not realize how much their actions might be hurting their team and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I've always been a proponent of that. I don't care how much I like the player. I don't care if the player is on another team. You have to keep everything as level as possible. Everybody likes to play around in the gray so that they can excuse their behavior in the moment. And at the end of the day, if you look at somebody else that does that exact same behavior and you call them out and say that they should not do it, then you got to hold yourself to that same
Same
standard.
standard. Yep.
Accountability is important. It is very, very, very important to me, um, and how I look at everything.
As it
And
should.
and you know, it's and I get it. We live in a world where people it's hard to look within
We
and
don't want to because it creates accountability.
it creates accountability, and that whole talk of it would force you to have to start to empathize with people, because if you can't change you, then why are you holding somebody else to a standard that you can't even hold yourself to?
Exactly. And people will always fail to think about that when it starts to come down as a self-reflection of their antics and their beliefs versus it's easier for me to blame somebody else than blame myself for my faults or for my insecurities or for my reasons why certain things have happened for it and that's one of the things to where as an adult you have to start really taking accountability for those things because at the end of the day it's not like you were a kid saying, hey, you have to do this. Something got some adults saying you have to do this or you're going to get in trouble. You have the free will as an adult. The only thing you got to worry about is what happens from God and if it's legal or not.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's on you. So that's people kill me when they have those antics going on where they'll sit there and be like, well, I didn't know it was going to be. How did you not know? And it makes it to where it becomes a hot issue to where it's like, you knew better. You knew better. Now you complaining about how the outcome is with that.
Oh,
What happened?
apparently, apparently John Jones is
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about that one. He pissed.
well, I mean, you know, here's why this is a difficult one. I like John Jones, but let's keep it a buck. All of his outside the octagon stuff
Mm-hmm.
has marred his career.
Yes.
All this whole thing where he would not fight Aspinall, I
Because there wasn't
think
enough money in it.
I think Dana has gotten to the point where he's done.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The other part about that you gotta throw in there with that as well is that John's not the be all end all anymore for UFC.
Yeah, they have plenty of
They
not
have
only
Pereira. And
they
Pereira is gotten to the point now to where Pereira is more of a box office draw than Jones is. That's
yeah,
why
because
Jones went after Pereira, saying that he wanted to fight him, but Jones priced himself out of it. So
and I
it,
mean at the end of the day, Dana's gonna be Dana, and
right
eventually, no matter how much money he can make off you, if you if what you're doing isn't
is more
what
of a
he
headache.
invites, like you said, like you were, yeah, if it's more of a headache than anything else, then you, my friend, you're done. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's okay. You're done.
And he just has to. And at this point now, I like I said, I'm a John Jones fan. I think Pereira would knock him out. Now, could I be wrong? Yeah, because I was wrong when Adesanya knocked him out. I didn't think Adesanya. I wanted Adesanya to win, but I didn't think he would after the last time they had fought. But Pereira is notorious for I'm gonna fight. If I fight my fight, you can't beat me. It's when I try to fight other fights. That's how I get beat. So I saw that when I saw them announce that whole Liberty 250 card.
I haven't even seen it.
It's out there.
I've heard people like talking about it here and there, but I didn't realize it was official and like when it was gonna. I hadn't seen anything about it being official and where
It's
it was gonna
official.
be. So, um, so at the end of the day, um, I wish that John would, if you're gonna be in, be in. This whole WWE, 1 minute I'm there, next minute I'm taking some time off. I'll come back, but you got to put some money on it. Just that whole Roman Reigns, uh, Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar thing that he's doing. Although the difference between what he's doing and what they do, they doing it because they veterans. He's doing it because he done got caught up in something, and on top of just doing what they do. And at the end of the day, it's like, come on, man. Let's get this together. But hopefully Dan Hurley can keep it together during the tournament because UConn is obviously one of my teams, and I want to see them do something. With that, how much college basketball did you watch this weekend?
None.
You didn't watch, huh? Dude, how did you? How?
One word, 5 letters. Tavy. My daughter. With my daughter being home this weekend before she flew back on Sunday, it was Friday, I'm out with them. Friday night, I pass out. Saturday, I'm running around with them. Saturday evening, I'm at my dad's. And Saturday night, it's Formula One. I did not catch.
What?
No.
Not even one game pulled up on your phone. I know mine is a little easier because I got like a small TV.
No, because
and,
see, here's the thing. If I got it up on my phone while they're in the car, it's pay attention to the road. Like turn on to this. Put your earbud in. Are you paying attention while you got your earbud in? It's like So I have like a list of games that I have recorded off of YouTube TV that I'm going to go back through and oh no, take that back. I did watch one.
Which
Miami of Ohio's game on Friday night.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, I thought I saw you post something about that.
I did watch that one. And kudos to Travis Steele for doing the unthinkable with Miami.
Right.
You have a fan in me and I'm rooting for them, not because just them going 31-0, but that they play that rivalry. When that game was over, as soon as that buzzer sounded, instead of going to celebrate with your team mates, they going toward the stands and they waving bye-bye to the crowd. They throwing up middle fingers to the crowd. They sit up there mouthing off to the crowd like, yeah, they was rowdy. I'm like, is this little Miami from Oxford?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Now, hold on now. You know karma is a
I know it is. But they said there was two technicals there was multiple technicals assessed to Miami's bench because they were responding to people heckling them during the game. And it was just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? What the heck? Because it was derogatory stuff that was coming out of there. There's probably going to be a bigger investigation from the MAC because of what it was. But it was to the point to where like security had to run out there and block the players from getting ready to go into the stands a la the Malice in the Palace at the end of that game. Okay. They collected themselves and went back and shook hands with everybody from Ohio. But that's already a rivalry. That rivalry got ratcheted up tenfold that game. Because I was like, ooh, Miami playing. And they was in overtime. I said, oh, snap, they about to lose this streak. And they figured it out. That when that happened, and then the way that they reacted, and then still afterwards on ESPN in his interview, I was like, okay. And for everybody, and real quick before we move off of this one, off of them, I do not like when people change the rules, and I've said this numerous times, don't change the rules or move the goalposts in order to be more suitable for the haves and not for the have-nots when it's convenient.
Okay.
You're sitting up here, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of barking about Miami of Ohio doesn't deserve they don't deserve that at-large bid if they lose in a conference tournament. That would be the first team in history that went undefeated and did not make the tournament because they didn't win their conference championship. Talking about, well, it's going to be unfair to an at-large team from a Power 4 conference. Who the fuck cares? They didn't go 31-0 up into that conference tournament. How many times have we had conference tournaments and Bruce Pearl, did you hear Bruce Pearl's infinite wisdom that came out of his dumb mouth this weekend?
I did not.
He sat there it was on CBS I think he's either on CBS or he's on ESPN, one of the two.
Okay.
He sat there and said, in order to stop the mid-major schools from stealing or losing opportunities to be in the tournament, the team that finished first and second in the conference should automatically get a bye into at least the semifinals of their conference tournament. That way, they get more days rest and they'll be less susceptible to an upset that would take a seed away from a Power 4 school. Ain't that the whole point of March Madness?
Last I checked.
So you want to suck away the fact of what makes people watch March Madness for those Cinderella teams, that ninth rated team that's in their conference tournament that all of a sudden puts it together and they go on a run. I'm praying for UC tomorrow. To be able to get into the tournament. Or in these mid-majors, that 9th seed, that 13th seed that somehow pulls it together and they have a losing record, but they win the conference tournament in order to get the at-large bid. I thought they fixed this, but then I looked back and I saw that the rule was a while ago that they dissolved was if you won your conference outright, you automatically was guaranteed a bid into the NIT. And then if you won your conference tournament, then that moves you automatically into the NCAAs. But if you didn't get into the NCAA tournament, you were assured your spot in the NIT. That was before all the CBT, the NILL, whatever you want to call it, all joined in and had all their own tournaments and stuff. But that defeats the purpose of it. And then I had to take a look. What is Bruce Pearl's son doing with Auburn basketball right now?
Yeah, it's not going great.
Where did it go? I had it up. Because you remember he retired and gave it to his son.
Right.
They are 12th in the SEC.
Yeah.
Auburn, who was a perennial championship contender, while Daddy Dearest was in there playing, while he was in there playing in the tournament. So now they're a 12th seed. They're 12th in the league. What's the report? And they're on the bubble. Who would lose out on the bubble if they did well and then Miami lost? Daddy's little angel and his squad. Stop moving the goalposts in order to make yourself look better. The only reason why you're talking all this smack is because if you was 31-0 and you was at a mid-major, you wouldn't be saying that. You would be saying we deserve to be in there. You're saying this stuff to save the tragedy that was, I'm going to retire and I'm going to go be in broadcast and I'm going to let my son run my team and your son can't coach worth shit. Plain and simple. War Eagle. Anywho, what else we got? What did you watch? What games did you watch?
Oh, dude, I watched. Oh God,
Why can't I hear you? Hold on.
I watched so much women's basketball. It was like, oh my God. It seemed like everywhere I looked, women's basketball was all over the
It's
place.
a tournament.
What's going on with South Carolina?
Did they lose?
They did. Lost to Texas.
Well, Texas has had their number this year. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at that one. They're still gonna be a 1 seed, but I did not. Yeah, I wasn't surprised that they lost that one. Um,
The
UConn. What was it? Yeah.
My Lady Devils lost this weekend, but the boys won. And then uh the women, the women from our UConn and Villanova play tonight,
No, that's in the fourth quarter right now. UConn's up by 40.
which I just pulled that
It's
up.
yeah,
Um
that's just the big the that's just the UConn Invitational.
Gene, man. Gene is what my God, I would love to interview that dude to find out how does he do that? Like,
How does
like
he do what?
how do you change players and yet you still set enough of a standard where people have to fear your team every year?
Because you're the standard. You have to remember when it really started taking off with women's basketball, it was Louisiana Tech and it was Tennessee and it was Pat Summitt.
Yeah,
And he had to fight and scratch and claw in order to get over Pat Summitt.
yeah,
And once he did, it was that run, and you would have people would pop up every once in a while. Tennessee would come back around. LSU would come around every once in a while.
yeah.
Somebody would come around, but it was always UConn. The closest thing to battling UConn for supremacy right now has been SC. And that's probably going to be because she coaches pretty much and she invokes that type of intensity like he does for there. That's what the standard bearers. With Staley and Ariema and Kim Malarkey and LSU, they are the standard bearers. That's what
You
makes you
know,
want to go. But
I watched the Duke ladies win yesterday. I watched I watched the West Virginia TCU game. Um I caught bits and pieces of the UCLA Iowa game. And I watched the UConn Creighton game. Shout out to I don't I don't know if I know I done probably asked you this before, but do you have Peacock?
yeah,
Oh, then whether it's basketball or college, there's games you can go back and watch on there too.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying like I was cool with being able to go back and watch all of them. Wait a
My
minute, what am I missing?
my Tar Heel ladies lost to Louisville.
Yeah, they currently ranked set up as a 5 seed. It looks like in the bracketology for everything. They're a 5 seed. They got Duke as a 2. They still got Carolina as a 1, but they moved Carolina out west and what's called Texas gets to stay at home now. And then oh no, that's right. I don't like okay. One of the things I don't like about the women's now is that there's only 2 locations for the regionals now. So like all the regional games, once you get to the Sweet 16,
Uh-huh.
one half of the bracket is in Fort Worth and the other half is in Sacramento. All the games is played like that. Instead of having 4 different locations.
Could that possibly be um a money situation?
It could possibly, but here's the reason why I'm saying it like that, right? UCLA, they say it's between UCLA and UConn for the number one seeds, right? The
Uh,
overall number one.
uh-huh.
Whoever's the highest seed in that bracket, it hosts the first two rounds. So, okay, UConn will be in Stores, UCLA will be in Los Angeles. So if they win out, then they go to the Sweet 16. The Sweet 16 regions are in Fort Worth, Texas, and Sacramento, California. So isn't that an unfair advantage for UCLA as a one to be able to play at home for their first two rounds, play in Sacramento, which is right up the road for their next two rounds to go into the tournament, versus UConn playing in Stores and then having to go to Texas for the next set. And Texas is also playing in Austin and in Fort Worth. So Texas got home field advantage the entire time.
Hmm.
Now I don't think they didn't set up to where they play like against each other in the bracket. But just think if something was to happen and UConn would have been a number 2 seed or something in that same region, they would have been playing against Texas in Texas or California. I forgot where is the Final Four this year for the women's? Is it in Indy too?
Let me look.
You got me. Yeah, I got you. Okay. So where's it at? Phoenix. So they could end up being out in Phoenix against UCLA now for it, which okay, that's neutral, but it's still crazy that UConn should be the overall number 1 seed and they gotta travel all the way out to Texas. And Texas could be the third number 1, and they could play in Texas for the entire tournament. I wish they would go back to where it was, to where the regionals wasn't like once they got the tournament brackets, then I thought that they used to set it to where they would set the regionals after the tournament had been put in there for it. They didn't say where it was going. Because I could remember it's been at least opening round games down at Heritage Bank. It's been some of them UD always have the first 4. But there used to be that UD used to have them, and I thought that I'm surprised that NKU hasn't tried to host opening round games yet, because I thought their arena was bigger than Heritage Bank. Well, who knows?
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this week. Will you be watching any of the tournaments?
Oh yeah. That's why I like the setup now, because now I'm going to be where I'll have my phone up and I'll have it to where I'll have my split screen up to where all my channels are set to who's showing the tournament games.
Gotcha.
And if it's Peacock, then I'll be able to watch the Peacock on the back end of it. If it's or if it's who else is it? No, I think it should be all ESPN, or it should be all ESPN or Peacock or TNT, TBS, and everybody.
I know money talks, but compared to last year, I missed last year the way Fox had all of the Big East. So as long as it was a Big East game, they were all on
Yeah.
They were all on Fox. And then because that helped me like really keep up with like specific conferences. Like with the way the TNT shows a lot of the Big 12 for college football and college basketball. I like that because it helps me keep up with more of the teams more often than not. This whole thing where like they're all over the place and everything. ESPN is cool with the fact that you know me, I love the sport, so I will
Right.
watch teams like last night I was watching Rad Point versus High Point.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was like who? It was like like yeah, exactly. It was like I will watch them games. I done had shout out to Boston U and Navy for y'all both having y'all women and y'all men playing for tournament championships.
Hey, that Boston U Navy game. When I saw what happened at the end of that one, I was like, "Oh, that's fucked up."
Right. Oh, oh, oh,
Double
oh,
touch
oh.
the three.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. We're gonna do this and then we're gonna end it. Which is the worst way to lose? Lose on a last second shot, whether it's a two or a three, or to basically spend most or half of the game basically being blown out by at least 20 points. Which is the most demoralizing?
The blowout. You know what? Old school thought the blowout. New school thought the instant loss. And this is the reason why I'll say that. Old school to have to sit there while you get roasted on the court, and you know by the time it gets to a certain point, the coach just pulls you out. You gotta sit there as a starter, knowing that your season is probably pretty much done. If you're not in one of these conferences that's going to get an at-large bid, and
Uh-huh.
you didn't have a chance to do it, and you gotta sit there and sulk throughout that whole time, then have to go through and shake their hands. Oh, don't let it be at home. Then you get to watch the winning team party on your court and take that big old ticket and slap their name on that ticket to go to the tournament and get the trophy and everything. Then you gotta go back and sit in the locker room for it. That would kill me. But new age, it's the instant loss. Why? Because it's gonna be everywhere. You get the blowout, you're not gonna watch that. They're gonna sit up there, they're gonna show a couple of highlights, and then they're gonna show them celebrating, and they're gonna move on. It ain't gonna sit on Sports Center forever and a day.
Right.
But that instant loss is gonna be on Sports Center. It's probably gonna be number one or number two on Sports Center top 10 for that day. It's gonna be on Fox Sports News, might be on CNN, depending on how exciting it is. Then it's gonna be on everybody's social media. So you're not gonna be able to get away with it or get away from it. That's what sucks now. Before we used to have to wait until the next morning or wait until the next morning for Sports Center. We would see the score and we'd be like, "What the hell happened?" And then we had to wait for Sports Center in order to see it. Now, if it happens, Sports Center posted it like last second shot, or they tag you like you need to get to this game. Click on the app right now. Everybody get a chance to watch it. They got access to it.
Yeah. 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 My okay. Me personally, a loss is a loss. I'm gonna hate it no matter what happens. But just as a general, I wanna say that I gotta agree with you that the last second shot it would be the worst because I was on the cusp of winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to win in the final seconds when I had it, I was at the finish line. That's like being pretty much at the finish line just to have somebody come running past you at the last minute, at the last second. That
Or no, you know what this is comparable to? You right there, you can see the tape, you can reach out and grab the tape, and you trip and fall, and somebody walks right past you.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
That one, having somebody run right next to you is like it's there, but most of the time, if they get a shot off, and people don't understand how competitive I am. I am not going to let you get no 3-pointer, no 2-pointer off. If I know one in my head, I'm gonna know what your free throw percentage is. Because if you're going up for a shot and I know I can't get to you, I might foul you. Uh-oh, what happened now?
I was trying to figure out the name of this damn school. So, Southland championship bracket for the men's.
Uh-huh.
It's Nichols versus UTRGV. Luckily, I got my friend down in Texas. I was able to figure it out because they had the shape of Texas, so I knew it was in Texas. I was like, okay, University of Texas. What's the R? And I was like, R Rio
Rio
Grande Valley.
Grande,
Yeah,
Rio Grande Valley State.
yeah. It was. Yeah, because it had the state of Texas shape, the shape of Texas, and then it just had UTRGV. And I'm like, what the is that? It's like, okay,
You're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of weird ass lines. What is this? I don't know. What is this one? I don't know. What's this? I don't know.
but yeah, so this has been another episode of United World Sports. We had some awesome topics. We had some serious, deep, thought-provoking conversations. It got real. We had to figure out the disagreements. We did it peacefully, just like it should be. And
By the way, folks, pay attention to our social medias. Definitely this week, we will be doing a live men's bracket. I haven't decided on if I'm going to do it for ESPN or if I'm going to do it with NCAA, probably ESPN, because they'll be able to. No, I'll figure it out. But be on the lookout on Wednesday for the first announcement for it, because the brackets get announced on Sunday, and then you'll have up until next Thursday to fill them out. And gonna probably end up giving away a nice prize to whoever wins. So definitely keep an eye on that one. Don't know if we might do the women's for fun and do the men's for the prize, because the women's is pretty much gonna be Connecticut, Texas, Southern Carolina, South Carolina, and UCLA. I mean, we know who it's gonna be. It just and my biggest thing is that I hate that it sucks that my girl for USC didn't play this season. But she got hurt in order to rehab her knee and everything, because I don't think UCLA would have had the run that they did if USC would have been strong. But, things happen. But yeah, definitely stay on it for the social media for that. If UC wins more than 3 games, I'll have on a UC jersey next week. That's a big if.
All right. And again, this is Dante Suave, Mystah Jay. Spoke with Andrew. He said that he's got a lot of personal things going on that he needs to get in order. So life be lifing, as you and Aries used to say at school, right? So which I can identify with that, because I'm kind of going through a situation where life be life and I'm looking for work, so I get it. But it's been fun. We will reach out to you guys on Wednesday. Speaking of that, Jay, keep an eye on your phone. I got a question. But
Okay.
until next week, we will see you guys.
Have a good one, everybody.